Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today, again, because it's kind of a slow news day, we're going to do a movie spotlight. I was originally going to do this yesterday, but I figured, just in case it's a slow day, maybe I'd save it for Monday. Um, and today we're going to be looking at an all-time monster movie classic that I really enjoyed when I was young, and I still enjoy because of the hammy, horrible acting with Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, and that is Tremors from, I believe it was 1993 was when this film was made. And Tremors is kind of an interesting film because it's kind of hard to tell if it's a homage to kind of like the 50s kind of science fiction movies where you have this like little town out in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and nuclear testing and all that kind of stuff, and then monsters start showing up, or if they're trying to somehow make a legitimate movie. Because here's the thing: is that when you watch this film, the special effects in this movie are amazing. The creature effects are great. You almost can't see any wires, and they kind of use the Jaws effect where you really don't see the creature for like the first hour of the film. You see bits and pieces of stuff here, and then really the first part of the creature that you actually see is there's a tentacle from one of their mouths that's stuck on the back of Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward's little blue pickup truck that they have in the film, and Michael Gross, who plays Burt Gummer, who would continue on for pretty much all the other movies that eventually become the star of the series, takes the tentacle thing off and examines it. And then they think that those are the things, and they realize like, oh no, it's just that these are just things that come out of their mouths, and they grab people and pull them back down. It's really just an appendage of like a bigger animal. But it definitely has that kind of like that scene, those scenes that you would attribute to like an old-fashioned monster movie. They're running up and down. They don't know what it is. They think somebody's killing people at first. And the other thing is the kills in this film they're fairly brutal in the sense of like, actually watching them. Because the thing is, the worms, which they call graboids in the movie, they eventually Victor Wong is actually in this movie, who plays Egg Shen in Big Trouble in Little China, and plays Old Man Chang, who owns a little convenience store in the town of Perfection, which is the little town that the whole film is based around. And he winds up naming them graboids. But the thing is that when you watch this film, again, it plays out tonally. And when I say tonally, they try to go for it. Feels almost like a homage or a spoof, one or the other, because Kevin Bacon is so over the top of this movie. And this was like, Kevin Bacon thought this was like the rock bottom of his career. I believe that there's actually a story that states that he broke down on the streets of LA with his pregnant wife and screamed, "My career is over. I am in a movie about giant worms." And it's kind of funny considering that, obviously he'd go on to do, other films. He's had a fairly extensive acting career post Tremors. So I mean, it's not like and then actually he almost returned to the series with another Tremors television series where he was actually in the pilot of it. There's actually a trailer of it online if you want to go watch it. But he was actually considering coming back to the franchise. Of course, he then after the first film he then left for all the subsequent sequels. But it's kind of a great first movie where they kind of give the mystique too of like they don't really tell you where these creatures came from. They speculate. They say, oh, what is it? It was like nuclear. Again, they go with the joke of like nuclear testing or space aliens or something like that. And none of them really know what exactly they are, other than the fact that they exist. But there's a lot of stuff that there's some rules that you learn in the movie because they figure out how these things move around and how they hunt, and so people they have like a get around basically to try and survive. But it's very, very interesting just to watch the movie and how it plays out. And again, I really do like Fred Ward in this too. He's a very good foil to Kevin Bacon, and it's a great kind of two-man team where Kevin Bacon's kind of this young hotshot guy, and you don't really, again, you never know like how these two guys wound up meeting each other, because it's obvious that Fred Ward is considerably older than Kevin Bacon, even if they are trying to play two characters that are the same age. But Kevin Bacon's kind of this young upstart. He's not really that great with women, although he thinks that he is, and he's kind of this. He's kind of like the accidental hero almost in the movie, where nobody really expects him to kind of take the reins. Everybody kind of thinks like, oh, Bert's gonna do it, or oh, Fred Ward's character is gonna do it. He plays Earl, by the way. I'm just going to refer to them by their character names now. Val is Kevin Bacon, and Earl is Fred Ward. So, you think it's going to be Bert, who's Michael Gross, or you think it's going to be Earl. Nobody thinks it's going to be Val. And then Val just kind of takes the whole, town together and like gets everybody together, and then they all kind of come up with a plan. There's some reoccurring gags throughout the movie too, like the rock paper scissors scenes. The whole joke is that Val always loses to Earl whenever they play rock paper scissors. That's how they decide everything. There's actually some really funny moments in this movie too, even though it's mixed in with some of this kind of grotesque type of horror. But the funny moments, at the beginning there's a scene where they're draining a shit pipe, and the tank is, or the connection where the pipe hooks up to the septic tank is busted, so it starts spewing crap everywhere. There's definitely funny moments in this movie, and I think they're intentional. I think a lot of them are intentional. Some people like to watch that movie and they say, "Oh, look at how horrible the acting is," and look at this. I think a lot of it is intentional. A lot of it is tongue in cheek. In the sense of, these characters are playing, I personally take it as a homage to 50s B movies, but, some people don't, but I personally do. And in taking it as that, I can see that there are a lot of these characters that are kind of over-accentuated versions of characters from those 50s films. Stuff like Them, or Tarantula, or Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, or The Blob, and stuff like that. There's always the doctor, the store owner, the police, and this film doesn't have a police officer, but usually there's like a cop, or there's some kids, and stuff like that. And, this movie covers a lot of those same kind of ideas with the characters, and kind of the over accentuation of those kind of archetypes from those films. And that's another reason why I kind of really love it. Is probably because I like 50s science fiction films. Not all of them, but a good amount of them, especially the ones that are kind of a bit more original and stuff like that. Again, like Them, you hadn't really seen a lot of stuff like that at the time. And when Them came out, Them was a really good movie. I might do Them on another episode of Movie Spotlight, because that is a really good movie, even though it's well known by a lot of people that are historians on special effects and things like that, but it is a legitimately good movie. And then, after you kind of get past that sort of the covering of it, it's still a really good movie. It's an entertaining movie. The third act is very well paced. I really enjoy the third act because, there's a lot of ups and downs and stuff in the third act. Like, oh, look, they're saved. Oh, no, wait. Oh, look, they're saved. Oh, no, wait. It's kind of some of those moments. And that's what you really need in a third act in some cases, especially in a movie like this, to kind of keep the audience engaged. If they're working towards one thing the whole time and you think they're going to do it, and then they just do it, it ruins the build up to that moment. But Tremors doesn't do that. Tremors kind of goes up and down, up and down, up and down. You don't know if they're going to get out. You don't know what's going to happen. And the first plan fails, the second plan fails, the third plan, maybe that'll work. That's kind of what this movie does to you. And again, that's one of the reasons why I like it, in addition to some of the performances and stuff in the film, and some of the character actors that I like from other movies like Victor Wong. But that's just my feelings on it. Tremors is one of my all-time classic favorite films. I know it wasn't on my top 10 list, but for a long time when I was a kid, that was actually my favorite movie. I want to know what you think. Have you seen Tremors? Do you like it? Are you familiar with any of the other entries in the franchise? Most of them are pretty shitty. 2 is okay. But put your thoughts in the comments below. Again, I'd like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?